So any of you see the interview Elon Musk did with Joe Rogan? Well, if you didn't know it before, you definitely do have to see in that interview. But Elon Musk is a pretty smart guy. But I contend he's not nearly as smart as I am. I mean, heck, Elon started Tesla, a company that makes electric cars that are as fast as rocket ships. He started SpaceX, a company that will eventually take tourists to Mars. He understands physics in a way that I certainly never will. But hey, I get to fish for a living, and to me, that's pretty smart. I'll be doing that today in a search for redfish, speckled trout, maybe even some largemouth bass. Got kind of a small fishing window. My son Joel is heading home from school. Gonna take him out this afternoon. Won't have a whole lot of time, but hopefully the conditions cooperate and we get to put some fish in a boat. Not hoping for a ton, just something to stretch the line a little bit. Should be a fun afternoon. Probably gonna fish right up until dark. Wish us luck. Alright, so we've come into this little local marsh lake. We were cruising down the shoreline and we saw just a ton of bait. Water's okay. I'm gonna say it's about a 6 on a scale from 1 to 10. But so much bait along the shoreline, we figured there's gotta be some type of predators lurking there. We're gonna try and fish right up against the shoreline for redfish and throw out a little bit for speckled trout. Not gonna give this too long, just gotta see if we can catch something here. So I'm going with one of my favorite redfish baits. This is a Z-Man chatterbait. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Hopefully today it does. It works more times than it doesn't. Now we got a pretty good breeze today. It's blowing probably 12, maybe even 15 out of the southeast. It's a favorable wind. I like a southeast wind if I have to have wind. Water's high and it's falling. We don't have much of a tide range today, but it is falling. Well, we gave it a valiant effort. Nothing along the shoreline, so we can make a move.
I can tell you haven't fished for a while. You're throwing a top water in 91-degree water.
In what?
91-degree water in the middle of September.
Hey, you know what?
Good luck with that.
You can't get up bluff if you don't try.
Hope that works for you, but for some reason I have my doubts. Lots of mullet in here.
That's why I'm throwing.
Yeah. All right, so 2 stops have resulted in absolutely nothing. So the worst thing you can do in a situation like this is just sit tight. I've got kind of minimal confidence in these lakes at the moment just because the water temperature is so high. That's kind of one of the problems with fishing in the afternoon. You really almost got to fish in reverse. You got to hit areas that the fish go to when the water temperatures are up, and that's generally some deeper water. Deep moving water that's of course also clean. So we need to go hunt for that and hopefully catch some redfish and some speckled trout, maybe a bass or 2, and then we can come back to these lakes after things cool down a little bit. So if you're a regular viewer of the Marsh Man Masson channel, you know that I have sponsors now, but I only take sponsors for products that I really believe in, and this is definitely a product I really believe in. It's a death grip jig head. Look at these ridges, these bait keepers on this jig head. Man, you got to really rip the bait to get it off of these things. The bait will look bad before it comes off of this. That's how good these are. And not only that, but they're incredibly sharp. The really bad thing with these jig heads is when you're tying them on, you invariably are going to get that point into your fingers here and there. But hey, I'll take that trade-off any day because fish breeze on this, they're going to get hooked. You know, jig heads are something that people kind of skimp on and don't really want to spend the money on, but boy, there's a world of difference between cheap jig heads and a little bit more pricier jig heads, and these are not cheap. But with the amount of artificial baits that you'll save, believe me, they pay for themselves, plus you'll catch more fish, absolutely. All right, we made a nice long run, found some better water, definitely some pretty water. Water temperature's still up, upper 80s. We're in a bayou though, so you figure that's where the fish are gonna retreat to in water temperatures that are that high. Because of the clarity of the water, I'm throwing a shrimp creole matrix shad. Joel's throwing some type of chartreuse matrix shad. He dipped it in Dip and Glow. He wanted a lemon head, but we don't have lemon head, so he basically made his own. All right, there's lots of bait up here, so things are looking really good. There's a fish. Speckled trout. Well, it's not a nice trout, but it is a keeper. Keeper trout. Inside, in the marsh. In the month of, what are we? September. In the month of September. Shrimp Creole, matrix shad, death grip jig head, and a keeper speckled trout. But we're not keeping trout, not keeping anything today. Because I got to get up at 5 a.m. tomorrow to go fishing again, so I can't clean them. So, see you, buddy. There he is. Get him, Joel. Ladyfish. Poor man's tarpon.
Oh my.
Ooh, Joel got drilled. Redfish? It's looking redfish-like.
It might be a trout. It's staying down.
I don't think it's a trout.
It might be a flounder.
I'd love for it to be a flounder.
Dude, he's fighting weird, man.
Fighting weird? Is he snagged? Is he foul hooked? Is it a catfish?
Oh.
It's looking catfish-like.
Oh.
Stingray! Even worse.
Oh.
Joel's gone for the trash fish trifecta. All you need now is a catfish.
Sacrifice entry, guys.
Yeah, just cut it. I know some people fool with stingrays. I don't. I cut my line. No bait is worth it. So what will Joel catch next? A catfish, a gaspergoo, a gar, a shoe pick.
Needlefish.
Could be a needlefish. Hopefully not a jack.
This episode of Marsh Man Masson brought to you by Matrix Shad and by Sea-Toad New Orleans and by Versamax Corks and by Death Grip Jig Heads.
All right, so we punted on that other bayou, Joel's trash fish bayou. Come to another one with some deeper water, also very pretty and lots of bait. Hopefully it's more productive than the previous one. Just gonna kind of work our way down it. Still got a falling tide here. It's not falling very hard. We're definitely at the end of this fall, but it is still trickling out. Right now it's 4:30. Sunset today is right after 7 p.m. So we got to make something happen. We've got another 2.5 hours at most of fishing. And I got to admit, it's been pretty slow. Some days are slow and you know why. You might have dirty water. Wind might be blowing 20. You just can't fish well. That's really not the case today. We do have some wind, but it's not inhibiting anything that we're trying to do. It's probably blowing, I'm gonna say maybe 10 at this point. We're at the end of this falling tide. I wish it was moving a little bit stronger, but you're not ever gonna have everything perfect. We found a lot of dirty water, but last bayou had some pretty water, and this bayou has some pretty water. So now we just gotta find some fish. Yeah.
Like a good 24-inch red with a long fight.
Right.
Something.
There's a fish. There's a fish. I think it's a red. I think it's a red.
Yep. A red.
All right. All right.
There we go.
Pretty redfish, Joel. That's the eating size. That's what you want. There he is.
Go on the grill.
He will not go on the grill. He will be tagged and set free, but that's the one you want for the grill right there. All right, so we've come back into a smaller bayou, and we've both made the switch to Texas rig baits. There is some grass around the edges of this bayou. Hoping for some reds, maybe some bass, maybe some speckled trout. Time to make something happen. So Joel just started college, and it's really cut into his fishing time. He also works, so he's been very, very busy. This is literally the first time he's fished in how long?
1 month.
1 month. 1 month. When we came out here, I had to give him casting lessons, show him which end of the rod to hold. Holy Toledo, what was that?
That's a
Dude, he ripped the rod out of my hands. Oh, oh, goodness. I lost him.
Did the hook come out?
Yeah, I gotta tell you, it was really, really weird. I'm not sure I hooked that fish in the mouth.
Yeah, you just pulled up.
Yeah, something just, it felt really funny. Like I never felt him hit, he was just on. Ah, I still would like to have landed him. All right, Joel, what you got?
Hit it so hard.
Was he in that Trinas or what? Definite red. Have you seen him yet?
Yeah, he's a red. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Keep it red.
Awesome. All right. Oh, greenhorn. See how much you've forgotten in a month? Right on the tackle box. So we're at the end of this falling tide, and it's barely trickling out now. It's hardly moving at all. We don't have a big tide range today, only 4/10 of a foot. That's not a lot. And we're right at the end of it. And as you can tell, the water's still high. It's not low at all. We've had a few days of east wind, so it raised that water level. But still, that fish was where he was supposed to be, right on that Trinas mouth. He was a little bit off of it, but you know he was there feeding on stuff coming out that Trinas.
All right, so it's 5:40. It's still really hot out here. I tell you, it's not fall as far as the temperature goes. It is still definitely summer. Now, conditions are really nice out here. I mean, we don't have much wind at all. Definitely under 5. Every now and then you get a little gust, maybe to 5. Really, really nice. These bayous should be producing better than they are. They're just not producing a lot of fish today. It just seems like nothing's happening. Lots of bait. Water's pretty. Should definitely be better than it is. But you can't force something that's not occurring, right? So we're gonna head back to the lake where we started the trip and kind of hoping that things have maybe cooled off a little bit, at least as far as water temperature. Now that the sun's getting lower, at least on the horizon, see if we can get some speckled trout to bite. That's really kind of what we wanted to make happen today. We've caught 1 trout, that's it. Hoping to catch a few more. I know we're not gonna load the boat, but we're hoping to catch at least a few. So we'll make a little bit of a run, probably about 15 minutes. And then we'll be fishing again. All right, first cast. Joel is hooked up with something big. We came back into the lake. I think it's probably a red. It's either a red or a jack. I'm hoping it's a red.
Yeah, he feels like a red up there.
He hasn't come up at all. First cast. Didn't even have the camera on yet. Could be a catfish with
no.
Joel's luck today.
He's not.
It is a catfish. Congratulations. All right.
Yeah, that's what we came out here for.
Oh, yeah, gaff top. So that's another species for today. Man, I got to tell you, this is an absolutely amazing afternoon. I mean, the fishing is slow. We're working for our fish. We've caught some trash fish, but it's just such a beautiful evening. It's just nice being out here. It really is. And I know that's from the book 101 Things That Losers Say. But some days are more fun being out here than others. This is just a fun one. So I got to go do a radio interview. So I'm going to turn the camera off. Hopefully Joel can catch something while I'm doing that. And there it is.
Dog 107.3 FM.
Oh, yeah.
Forward back with you on the
That's a trout.
That's a
white trout.
Radio show right here on Talk 107.3 in Baton Rouge. Also, we are on Facebook Live.
All right.
And you can join us. If you have any questions, let us know. All right, I'm going to get the dunce.
Good God. There he is. There he is.
Nice. That's awesome.
World class. It's a whitey.
Oh, God.
Another wind knot.
No, this one's not.
That one's bad, huh?
Come out.
All right, this dude he's gonna need some oral surgery. Poor guy. See, I'd keep him and eat him, but not today. It's his lucky day. Man, look at this sunset, absolutely beautiful. But that's kind of our cue to go home. As I mentioned, I got to get up early going fishing again tomorrow, and it's getting kind of late, and our bite has kind of slowed down as that sun's gotten low. So we're gonna call it a day, but man, what a fun, epic day this was, particularly for the time of year. Mid-September, you don't expect to catch a good number of speckled trout. You kind of expect to catch one here, one there. We definitely exceeded our expectations, so that's always a really nice positive. Well, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. Also subscribe to the Marsh Man Masson channel on YouTube and leave a comment in the comment section. We want to know what's going on in your neck of the woods. What are you catching? What are you catching on? What are the patterns that are producing whatever fish that you like to catch? Until next time, if we don't see you in the marsh, we'll see you right here on Marsh Man Masson. Take care.